Yeah. He just much it ready. He still hasn't let know when he's ready to go yet. So not quite yet. Yep.
Just 1, 2. Maybe people with some soul in their house today. Anybody with some soul in their room today? Because I want to tell the truth about you. You are sinless, you are sinless, you are a child of God. You are sinless, you are sinless, loved you and you are. Your invulnerability was your father's guarantee that you would forever be completely free. You are guiltless, you are guiltless, you are a child of God. You are guiltless, you are guiltless, love you as you are. Your invulnerability was your father's guarantee that you would forever be completely free. But you keep on singing, tell me something. But you keep on singing, say what? But you keep on singing the blues, yeah. When you gonna stop singing? 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 To learn you have nothing to lose. Welcome to A Course in Miracles. Those of you online, welcome to A Course in Miracles in the room. That's it's a course in right perception. It says if we have right perception, it's a miracle. That's why it's called A Course in Miracles. Because if we see things with love, no matter what's happening, it's a miracle. If we give ourselves peace, no matter what's happening in our lives, it's a miracle. You are guiltless, you are guiltless, you are a child of God. You are guiltless, you are sinless, love you as you are. Your invulnerability was your father's guarantee that you would forever be completely free, completely free. But you won't go singing, but you keep on singing, but you keep on singing the blues. Have you sung the blues in the last week about anything? Today, right before you came in, you singing the blues, you got nothing to lose. You don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas you will find hard to believe, and some of these ideas you will find quite startling. Nobody's asking you to judge and analyze, but if you would use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas are true, but you have to use them, yeah. But you keep on singing and keep giving people the finger. You keep on, yeah, singing the blues. I wish this were different and then I'd be happy. If they were different, I would be happy. If this were different, I'd be happy. If that was different, I'd be happy. If I was in another situation, circumstance, somewhere else, I would be happy. Your happiness comes from you. Your happiness comes from you. My happiness comes from me. Let's say it. My happiness comes from me. That's groovy. My happiness comes from me. My happiness comes from me. Oh yeah. My happiness comes from me. My happiness comes from me. It comes from me. My happiness comes from me. So what I'd like you to do right now, if you don't mind, is look around at each other and just say hi. Just look at somebody and give them a good energy. Those of you online, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad. Hi.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. Those of you online, I want to give you a big shout out. It's good to see you. Don't forget that you can ask questions online, you can make comments, you can communicate with each other. And if I can answer any questions during the class from online as well as in the room, I'm glad to do it. I want to give a shout out to a few folks. Marlette, Kim, LaShaw, Barbie, Sarah J. I can see your hair color, Sarah J.
Yes.
It's pink today.
That's right. Sonia. See, I haven't even started talking yet. You're already yawning. Wait till I say something, you know. We're going to start, we're going to be in the teacher's manual, the manual for teachers today. We're going to be on page 7. And it's called, What Are the Levels of Teaching? It's a very powerful section of A Course in Miracles. It talks about the teachers. It talks about the teachers of God, the teachers of God. Now, this take all the mysticism off that. It's talking about the teachers of love, the demonstrators of love. A teacher is a demonstrator. And it's also talking about relationships. This section is talking about relationships. It has some key stuff about that. So I'm going to go through the paragraph and try to really give the juice of what Spirit is trying to tell us in this. Give you an opportunity to respond or ask a question. Then I'm going to go to the next paragraph. So you are a demonstrator of love. Now, I know sometimes you may not feel that way based on what you just said to somebody yesterday. But you are to be a what? Demonstrator of love. And love is freedom. So you're here to be a demonstrator of freedom, a demonstrator of truth. Notice that it says a teacher is a demonstrator. That's a very important point. A teacher is a demonstrator. So a teacher of God, a teacher of love, has no set demonstration level, no set teaching level. Each teaching learning situation, that's what a relationship is. Another term in the Course in Miracles for relationship is a teaching learning situation. So when you enter a relationship with somebody, are you not entering a teaching learning situation? Right. I think that's a perfect term to use for a relationship.
Yes.
Is it, okay, can I get your phone number so we can have a teaching learning situation? I'm hungry for a teaching learning situation.
Yeah.
You're just my type. This is the same as saying, you're just my pattern. That's what you're saying. Oh, you're just my pattern. Right? Then it says, now when you start a relationship, it involves a different relationship at the beginning, although the ultimate goal of any teaching learning situation, so that means the ultimate goal of any relationship is to make of the relationship a holy relationship. Okay, so now I'm getting with you. We're having a teaching learning situation, And the purpose of that teaching, learning situation is for us to have a holy relationship. Now, what is a holy relationship, right? A holy relationship, the Course says, is a relationship in which both can learn to look on the Son of God, which is the child of love, that's us, as sinless. So I want to enter into a relationship with you. We're going to have a teaching, learning situation. The purpose of that relationship is for us to have a holy relationship, which means the purpose of that relationship is for us to learn to see each other as sinless, totally innocent, without blame, without condemnation, which is going to be very difficult to do if you are holding that other person responsible for your happiness.
That's right.
If you're entering that relationship because you think this is the person that's really going to make you happy now and make you feel loved now, you can forget seeing that person as sinless. You can just toss that right out the window, right off the bat, because you're going to walk in with a lot of expectations and scripts, and so you'll be in grievances really quick because you'll be feeling like they need to do something different and act different in order for you to be happy. I always say in my class, I'm always surprised at whoever shows up. It really. Because y'all tease me every week. 5 minutes before the class starts, it's 2 people.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's full.
Yeah.
Because you all are full of it.
I'm pretty damn full of it too.
Hey, course bouncer, get that lady out here. She got to go. She got to go.
No way.
I know. You got to go one anyway. It's like that person when you named an airline's flight. We're going to drag you. We'll drag you out kicking out the room. You know what I'm saying?
Just want the truth.
I want the truth. We double book you, lady. You gotta go.
Damn, it's gonna be like that,
I
Ron.
know. And Dion, I'm happy to be here with you too. You say you're so happy to be here with all of us. All right. There's no one from whom a teacher of God cannot learn, so there's no one who you cannot teach. So there's no one you can't learn from, so that means there's no one that you can't teach. That's the same as saying there's no one from whom a demonstrator of love cannot learn, so there's no one whom a demonstrator of love cannot demonstrate. It makes sense. I can demonstrate love to all of you. I'm going to demonstrate love to you right now. Watch me carefully.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
It's good.
It's good. What am I doing?
Letting us.
Letting you be.
Yes.
Letting you be. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm not trying to tell you how you should be. I'm not trying to limit you in any way. I'm letting you do whatever you want to do. So watch carefully again. I want y'all to feel Christ-like love.
I had a woman like that once in bed, and I didn't like it.
Well, now you know you had the wrong perception of her. She was demonstrating love. She wasn't saying anything about your performance. Okay, that was love, buddy.
Well, I didn't know
That was
that.
love. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. However, from a practical point of view, you can't meet everyone.
That's right.
Right? So, nor can everyone meet you. So, therefore, God's plan includes very specific contacts. So that means every relationship you've ever had was not an accident. It was ordained. You were supposed to meet them. This right here is not an accident. Us being here today together is not an accident. These are very specific contacts, right? It says in these contacts, the plan includes very specific contacts to be made for what? Each teacher of God. There are no accidents in salvation. There are no accidents in healing. There are no accidents in love. All right? So those who are to meet will meet. So stop worrying about if you're going to meet someone, please. All right? Those who are to meet will meet. And it won't be an accident that you met them. And it's never been an accident in any relationship that you've ever had. And anyone you didn't meet, you weren't supposed to meet. So if you wanted someone and it never happened, that was the best thing that could have happened to you. And the ones that you have met have been the people who have been ordained for you to meet, to have an opportunity to practice seeing each other as sinless, guiltless, and innocent. See, I don't think about I want a date tonight so I can see someone as sinless. As a matter of fact, that's when I used to create the most sin. There was a such thing, which there isn't.
Right.
There's no such thing as an irreversible, uncorrectable thing you could ever do that would be beyond the love of God to heal and correct.
Yay!
That's good news for people who want to see themselves as innocent. That's bad news for people who want to see themselves as guilty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so people who believe guilt is salvation don't like A Course in Miracles because it tells them they're not guilty. People who want to recognize their innocence are glad to hear of a teaching that practices unconditional love. I am. Anybody else?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right,
yes.
okay. So the Course then says that those who are to meet will meet because together those who are to meet have the potential for a holy relationship. And what is a holy relationship? It's a relationship where we're learning how to see each other as innocent, as lovable, as loved. So every relationship is giving me the opportunity to see someone as loving, lovable, and loved, which is the same as staying free. I'm going to keep associating love with freedom, because don't you know that that's the opposite of what we associate love with?
Yeah.
We have the most demands, expectations, scripts, and limitations on those we have special love for, and we free everybody else that we say we don't love. I'll say that one more time. Those who we say we love are the ones we put the deepest scripts, expectations, and demands and limits on. And then those we say we don't love, we let them live their life joyfully. No, I didn't even
That was
see you.
sneaky.
I didn't even see you. That's awesome. Am I right or wrong?
You're totally
right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Okay. So, two people who meet, that's not an accident that they've met. It's an opportunity for them to learn to see each other as innocent. There are no accidents. So everybody you meet, you are ready for each other. You know you never meet anybody you're not ready for. You are ready for each other. So if you're in any kind of an intimate relationship right now with anybody, I'm not just talking about lovers, anybody, you're together because my kids and I are ready for each other. And I might not always feel like we're ready. But we're ready for each other. Me and my grandchildren and I are ready for each other. You know, my friends, we're ready for each other. How do we know we're ready for each other? We're ready for each other because we know what our purpose is, which is to learn to see each other as innocent and sinless.
Right.
For that, I'm ready. Now, you might not be ready for my scripts. You might not be ready for my fantasies. You might not be ready to do the things that I think is going to validate me and make me feel important. But you are ready for a holy relationship, and I am ready for a holy relationship because we have the opportunity together to see each other as delicious,
Yummy.
yummy, in our innocence, in our life. So it's easy to practice love. You saw me practice it.
Yeah.
It's hard to practice specialness.
Yes.
It
It's
is.
easy
It
to
is.
practice love. It's hard to practice specialness.
Yes.
All right? Okay, so if your relationship is a struggle, you aren't practicing love.
That's right.
You practicing trying to be special by having someone be the way you want them to be in order for you to feel validated and happy. And your ego is going to choose, is going to appear to choose the person who least wants to do it. But you're still ready for each other, and there's still no accident, and you still have the opportunity to see each other as innocent. Any questions about that paragraph? Anything I said about that paragraph you don't get?
You know why I'm single?
You know why you say you know why you're single?
Yeah.
So is that the same as saying you know why you're happy? Okay. You don't need a special relationship. You don't need special relationships at all. You need holy relationships.
Yeah.
You need relationships that are based on true love. You don't need relationships that are based on scripts. Okay? Yes.
I am really particularly drawn to the bottom of that paragraph where it says, those who are to meet will meet because together they have the potential for a holy relationship. They're ready for each other. I love that because it does say when we meet, anyone I meet, I have potential for a holy relationship with.
That's right.
That person, even if they are my pattern, I have the potential with that person to break the pattern and have holy relationship.
That's why I said that even if it's a person that your ego would pick that looks like they are just the opposite of everything you want, they still give you an opportunity to practice the truth.
Even the people that drive me crazy,
Even
my
the
children
people,
included.
Yeah, I like to put it, even the people I drive myself crazy with.
Yeah.
Okay, if you were to always say, I'm making myself mad, I'm making myself angry, I'm making myself jealous, I'm making myself upset, then you are empowering yourself even when you're upset. You know, oh my, like you said, my children drive me crazy. I'm driving myself crazy.
That's right.
I'm making myself crazy through my relationship. You don't ever want to give the power over your feelings to something or someone outside yourself, ever. Under no situation should you say, someone else is making me feel what I feel.
So every relationship is the opportunity for a holy relationship.
Every relationship.
And that is even in the briefest of interactions.
And we're going to get into the 3 types that you have. So that's great. Down to 3 types according to the course that you have. 3 types of relationships. Yeah.
So you said that every encounter that I have with someone and every meeting is not by accident, it was planned.
Every encounter you have, none of them are accidents.
So then, like, if I had an encounter with someone, and this is in the past now, but if I had an encounter with someone in the past and I have feelings of hatred for them, then that's me just totally misperceiving it. A big call for love.
That's a big, if you see somebody and you think about the past and you still have anger, it means you're not happy now. Because a person that's happy now doesn't have time to think about what somebody's appeared to do to them in the past.
Right.
So it's just a call for God, it's just a call for love, and it means that you're consciously not using that relationship as an opportunity to demonstrate love. That you're not using that relationship for what it was meant to. And I know that you're upset because they did not act out a script that you had about how you felt they should have done, treated you, or been. Because all anger is nothing but being upset about somebody not acting the way you expect them to. That's what all anger is, according to A Course in Miracles. And anger is also an attempt to make someone feel guilty enough to do what you want them to do. So I'm going to be so angry you succumb to what I want you to do and you start acting the way I want you to act. And I have an expectation and you didn't do it the way I thought you should do it, so now I'm mad. So there's never any justification for anger, but it doesn't say we don't get angry. Okay? So obviously we do because we're studying so that we can learn how to get past it. So that's why it doesn't make any sense to beat yourself up for not being totally loving and compassionate. Because if you already were, there would be no need for you to be on the spiritual path of evolution and evolving. So to always be upset with yourself because you're not already able to do what you know you want to learn how to do doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So you have to be a happy learner. The Holy Spirit needs happy learners.
Yeah.
People who are not beating themselves up for making mistakes.
I volunteer.
Yeah.
Good job, Zen.
Okay. Okay.
So I volunteer too, however.
Help.
Well,
I only
God
want
is
I'm
much
working with like the page 449 about, we don't know, it's God's will, God knows how, kind of like we don't know, God knows. So with the partner thing, the relationship thing, and the single thing, when you want the partner, even though you want that, not necessarily the special relationship, but now we want the holy relationship, and they're still not there.
Oh, they're all around you. Remember, the purpose of a holy relationship
Is everybody.
Yeah, it's everybody. The purpose of a holy relationship is for you to join with somebody for the purpose of you learning to see each other as innocent, loving, lovable, powerful, spiritual, and free. That's the purpose. That's a purpose. A holy relationship is not a relationship where people are acting out my script. So therefore, they are the holy partner. Because you're not making me mad. Most people will go through life with one goal in mind, to avoid everything that upsets them and not have it happen. That's how they get up in the morning. I'm going to avoid everything that upsets me, and I just want to have everything that goes the way I want it to go. And so that's not really a realistic goal, because you don't ever heal when no one pushes your buttons. You don't even know what needs to be corrected. Just because I'm jealous, if you dance with somebody else, so you decide when you're with me, you're not going to dance with anybody else, so therefore I don't get jealous, doesn't mean I've been healed of my jealousy at all.
No.
But you will call it, this is my mate being compassionate and paying attention to my feelings. But in the meantime, you're just as messed up as ever in your perception,
That's
right? If you look at a piano that no one never plays, it never makes a sound, but it's capable of making all those notes, but nobody played the key. That's the way most of us try to live through life. I'm the piano, you better not ever play. So we get in a relationship, and then you got a concerto. Right? And somebody's playing, and you're going, I hate you, you make me mad, why don't you do what I want you to do? Down! And that's your top 10. That's the way we do it. And then we say that person played me like a fiddle.
Yep.
Yeah. But what that person did was give you an opportunity to do what's necessary to learn to see yourself as innocent and do what's necessary to learn to see them as innocent. So if you both come together aware that that's your goal, when your insanity comes up, your relationship will survive it because you were not expecting your song not to be played. You wanted your song to be played so that it could be corrected and you can go beyond it.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay? So let me go to the next paragraph. It says, the simplest level of teaching appears to be quite superficial. A simple level of teaching consists of what seems to be very casual encounters. I had one right before I came here. A chance meeting of a pair of strangers in an elevator. That happened when I came down from my apartment. And I said, how are you doing? I hope you have a good day. And they said, I hope you have a good day too. I especially make a point of saying it to people who look unfriendly.
Yes.
Because it's always a great lesson
Yes.
to me, because what happens 9 times out of 10 is as soon as I go,
Yeah.
good morning, I hope you have a great day, they go, I hope you have a great day
Yeah.
too. You know what I'm saying? You convinced that this is the sour puss of God,
Yeah.
right? But then you'll take the time to actually be
Yes.
friendly, and they will instantly change
Yes.
9 times out of 10.
Yep.
So what they were reflecting was my face.
That's right.
Yes.
They were reflecting me. That was the way they were I wasn't really giving up no vibe. They didn't give up any
Yeah.
vibe either. But as soon as I went, okay, I must be misperceiving. Why? Because I think that's a serial killer. And I'm here alone on the other. I went, hello, brother. How you doing? And they immediately do it too. So a child not looking where they're going, running into an adult by chance. That's not an accident. 2 students happening to walk home together. That's a casual encounter. And if you have the book, it has that in quotations, happening. Then you know that it's not an accident that you all went through y'all's whole life, went through everything that you went through your whole life to end up on the elevator at the same time.
Yeah.
That you had to do everything exactly the way you did it with everybody you've done it with, exactly got dressed, everything, so that you all ended up on the elevator at the same time. To think that wasn't an accident gives you some idea of how well orchestrated our reality must be and what kind of infinite intelligence must be behind everything to make sure that you said, good morning, I hope you have a good day. And the thing that I've noticed, that other little test I give myself, is I'll say something to them, see how they respond, and then see what happens when they get ready to get off the elevator. Again, 9 times out of 10, they'll turn to me and say, I hope you have a good day. They'll initiate the next one. I'm telling you, you're perceiving your own energies, personality, and projections.
That's right.
That's all you're seeing. We are 3-dimensional mirrors of each other. If you really want to know what you look like, this is what you look like. I am your mirror. Was that the voice for God? I think I heard God's voice calling. If somebody had told me at my age people would be whistling at me, see, I would have said that was an illusion. That would never happen. I'm having things happen every day at my age that I was told would never happen. It's great to be wrong. It's great to be wrong. I used to want to be right. Now most of the time I want to be wrong. Just the opposite since studying the course. I don't want to be right about anything that I'm using to make me unhappy. I don't want to be right about anybody or situation that I'm using to make me unhappy. Because if I'm right, I'm stuck. If I'm wrong, there's another way you can deal with it. So it says, each of them has what? The potential for becoming what? A teaching-learning situation, which is a relationship. Perhaps the seeming strangers in the elevator will smile to one another. Right? I just told you that. Perhaps the adult will not scold the child for bumping into him but kick him across the street.
That's not what it is. Not say that.
That missing out. Perhaps the adult will not scold the child for bumping into him. Perhaps the students will become friends. Even at the level of the most casual encounter, it's possible for two people to do what? Lose sight of separate interests. And as soon as you lose sight of separate interests, how long? If only for a moment. If just for a moment, I'm not just thinking about myself. In that moment, he says, at that point, that's when peace has come, that's when healing has come, that's when salvation will come. That moment will be enough. Let me give you an example. We get on the elevator, they say, what floor do you want me to punch? That's a healing instant. If just that instant they were thinking about something beside themselves and we were connected for each other's mutual benefit, that's salvation.
Wow.
Us being connected for each other's mutual benefit, that is salvation. That is healing. That is love. The Course in Miracles says people come to group meetings like this, meeting in the same physical location for their own individual needs. That's not joining. Just because we all are sitting in the chairs together in this physical location, that is not joining. If each one of us are only concerned with our own personal interests and not wanting the interests of the group. So you're not joining because you're sitting in the room with each other. You're joining when you want each other's happiness as well as your own. Wow. See, I've been looking for people who just want mine. That's what I call looking for a relationship. I'm looking for somebody who will want my happiness, and they will put my happiness before their happiness. And they will make making me happy their number one priority in life for the rest of their life. Okay. And I'm totally unselfish. Forget that. I'm caring.
Right.
All right? So, it's difficult to understand that levels of teaching the universal course is a concept as meaningless in reality as in time. The illusion of one permits the illusion of others. What does that mean? It means in time, are we in time? Then the teacher of love seems to begin to change their mind about the world with a single decision. What is the single decision? The single decision is I want to be a demonstrator of love, I want to be a demonstrator of truth, I want to be aware, I want to be conscious, I want to know my spiritual identity. I want to know real love. That's the single decision, right? I want to know the truth. That's the single decision. Then the course says, then you learn more and more about the new direction. How? As you teach it. So I learn more and more about the direction of truth and love as I demonstrate truth and love. So I made the decision to love you guys and gals, and I'm going to learn more about it as I do it. So I made a decision, I'm going to learn more and more about the new direction as I demonstrate it. So if I'm not demonstrating any of this stuff that I'm studying, I'm not learning anything about it. So just being able to talk this stuff isn't the same as demonstrating this stuff. And that's why people get bored with classes and get bored with groups. It's because they listen and think listening is doing it.
No.
And so nothing changes, and they say, well, I'm not going to go to that class anymore. So they go to another one. And then they go to that one, and they go, oh, I had enough of that one, and I go to that one. Collecting recipe books will not produce a cake. So going from one book, one teaching to another book, to another teaching, to another book, to another teaching that you never applying is like a carpenter getting ready to build a house that goes to a hardware store, gets a bunch of nails and a bunch of hammers and steps back and waits for the house to be built. And then his house isn't being built, and they got a pile of hammers and nails and wood, and they go, I know what the problem is. And they go back to the hardware store and get some more nails, some more hammers, and some more wood, and don't do anything. So if you don't think your spiritual path is working for you, it means you're collecting recipes. And I'll tell you something else. It becomes a burden.
Yeah.
After a while, to have all this stuff intellectually that you're not living, it would be better if you never read it at all. Because then your ego is going to start judging you about the stuff that you know that you're not doing. At least at first you didn't know it. But now you know it and you're not doing it. So that makes you beat yourself up even more. So stop coming to doing stuff like this if you're not going to practice it. You'll be happier without it. It'll be a false happiness, but you'll at least feel better. Okay. Then the Course in Miracles says, we have covered the illusion of time already, but the illusion of levels of teaching seems to be something different. So let me explain this. Perhaps the best way to demonstrate that these levels of teaching cannot exist really is simply to say that any level of the teaching learning situation is part of God's plan for your healing. Any level that you are being given an opportunity to see each other as innocent and powerful and spiritual and blameless, that is part of God's plan. So God's plan, it says, can have no levels because it's a reflection of God's will. What does that mean? Notice I'm saying, what does that mean? And I'm keeping going. It's because it knows you're going to go, what the heck does that mean? So salvation, which is your healing, your right-mindedness, I'm using Course in Miracles definitions, is always ready and it's always there. The possibility for your healing is always ready and it's always there. We work at different levels, but the result is always the same. You came to this class from different directions, but the result was the same. You ended up in the class. Yeah. So stop judging somebody else's direction. Because if it's going to take us to the same place, I don't care if you came back Colfax as opposed to 17th, if it's going to take us to the same place. And most of the upset in the world is coming from people judging each other's path, each other's direction. Yeah. Everybody wants to be happy, but we're crucifying each other about the way we go about doing it. The way I go about reaching happiness might be different from the way that you do it, and so you're judging me because I don't do it the way you do it. That's especially true in relationships. There's a lot of judgment about the way people choose to do relationships. Some choose to have polyamorous relationships, some people choose to have open relationships, some people choose to have monogamous relationships, and each person that thinks that's the way to have a relationship is tempted to judge somebody that's doing it different from the way that they do it. And if the way the other person does it frightens you, then at some level you don't feel 100% confident about the way you're doing it. Yeah. Because if you felt 100% solid about the way you're doing it, you would simply say, that's not my way, but I bless you to do it yours.
That's right.
But if I feel a need to condemn your way, then I'm going to draw people to me that condemn mine. And I'm going to constantly attract people in relationships who don't want monogamy.
That's right.
That they're going to have an opposite personality of relationship than you because of self-condemnation. You condemn me, you're going to draw people to you that's going to teach you not to condemn me.
That's right.
But in truth, you're condemning yourself.
You obviously condemning yourself if you condemn me because I am yourself. See, that's the part. This oneness thing means oneness. It's like, sometimes we forget that when it says we are one self, it means we are one self.
Right.
Okay, like I was still myself.
Yeah. I am one self united with my Creator, limitless in power and in peace. So I know I'm talking dirty to you. You feel that? You feel that? You like it? You like it? Yeah. That's right. Somebody who doesn't feel that way about themselves or who does not want to hear that about themselves will run away from me as fast as they possibly can, which is my protection. I don't hesitate to present who I really am to people because it weeds people out quickly. It doesn't have to take a long time. They'll immediately go, I'm not into this dude, and they'll be gone.
Yep.
And I'd rather for it to be quick and fast and clean. That's why I like a surgeon, you know. I'm Earl Purdy, I love unconditionally, and I'm free, and there's nothing you can do about that. I'm going to do who I am. I'm going to not do who I am. Well, actually, I will do who I am. And you can't control me. I'm uncontrollable. Now, if you meet somebody you can control, then you should not come anywhere near me. If you meet somebody that wants to condemn you, blame you, limit you, stop you from being who you are, then you don't need to spend time with me. And usually, that's exactly what happens. Most people don't want freedom. So they do leave you alone. But you're not giving a mixed message to the universe, so those come to you that are like you because you didn't give mixed messages. You were willing to let go of whatever wasn't best for you to have what is best for you, even if it looks like temporarily you appear to be alone. My happiness is worth that much to me. So the Course then says, oh, this is really great. Okay, this is the second level of relationship, and this is the level that most of us are on. You ready?
Yeah.
The second level, it says, each teaching learning situation is maximal. What's a maximal teaching learning situation? In the sense that each person involved will learn the most they can from each other at the time. In this sense, and in this sense only, what sense? That each one of you are going to learn the most that you can from each other at the time. We can speak of levels of teaching. Using the term this way, the second level of teaching is a much more sustained relationship in which, for a time, two people enter into a fairly intense teaching-learning situation and then appear to separate.
Whoa.
Second level is, I'll say it again.
Whoa.
You meet somebody, y'all get into a really sustained, intense teaching-learning relationship, and then you appear to break up. Or then you appear to separate. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Are you familiar with being drawn to someone, and you might say we fell in love, or we really attracted to each other, and all of a sudden you're all into each other, and you can't do any wrong, you want to be around each other all the time, and then the next thing you know, there's a restraining order. As with the first level, what? These meetings are not accidental. So no romantic, intimate relationship or friendship that you've ever had was accidental, and nor is what appears to be the end of the relationship a real end of the relationship. Don't get depressed about that. I say it again. Even though you think the relationship is ended, it really hasn't ended. And it just means when you separate, that each has learned the most they can from the other at this time. Whenever your relationships with anyone appear to end, instead of you freaking out, thinking that you're a failure, what went wrong, you've done everything you know to do, it just means you have learned as much as you can from that person right now. And if you try to stay with a person beyond that, it becomes more and more pain, more and more conflict, and more unhappiness. I guarantee you. Those relationships that you think that just seems like no matter what, they get worse and worse is because you're trying to go in that relationship and stay in that relationship beyond the point that you've learned as much as you can from each other right now. And you're trying to force it. It doesn't mean you're a relationship failure because the relationship ended. It just means what? You learned as much as you need to and can from each other at when? This time.
So that would make it actually a success.
Then the relationship was
Success.
successful. It only
Yeah.
became unsuccessful when you tried to stay together.
Yeah.
In the form you were in.
Right.
Yeah.
And notice I'm saying form you were in.
Uh-huh.
The relationship is different from the form that it takes. I could be in a relationship with you and we be married, or I could be in a relationship with you and now we're divorced. That's a change of form. The relationship still exists. But for most people, the form is the relationship. So if I'm not your boyfriend, we don't have a relationship. You see, that's the form being the relationship. Rather than going, we have a real relationship, it might have to change form. We can't be married anymore to really like each other. And I've seen people who divorced who got along better than they ever did when they were married. So they kept their relationship, they just saw the form sucked. Or what? They had learned as much as they could from that form at this time. And then sometimes they remarry. Because now there's another level that they can learn with each other again. Why do we know that's true? Because they want to get married again and they feel peace with each other.
Yeah.
That's how you know they're ready for another teaching, learning situation. See, the Course in Miracles are in a true wisdom text. If you're hearing it correctly, it makes you feel inspired. It makes you feel more innocent. It makes you feel more lovable and loving. If your spiritual path is not doing that for you, you need to take another path. You know, if nothing that I'm saying, if nothing about this path appeals to you, then you might want to reconsider another form. You should be excited about us joining. That's not saying that you may not have challenges with what's being said, but you would be glad to get together to focus on this, even if you know you're going to be challenged. Because you want your piano played, so that you can get beyond your buttons. So, I love it when he said, each has learned the most they can at the time, yet all who meet will someday meet again. Why? Why? Because it's the destiny of all relationships to become wholly healed and happy. We are all destined to have every one of our relationships be a source of joy. It's your destiny. It's your destiny to have only happy relationships. It's your destiny. It's your fate to be happy.
Yeah.
That really went over big.
Dancing on the inside.
You're destined to be happy. I just can't wait till Game of Thrones come on tonight. That's all I know. I need to see some blood and guts this evening. That's all I know. Okay, before I go to the last thing, any questions or comments or ahas about what I just said? That was deep. Yeah.
There are a
Yes, it
ton
was.
of comments
Okay,
online.
let's hear what they're saying
And, you
online.
know, they're really resonating.
I know I'm getting a lot of hearts.
Spirit and love is really flowing through you, Raj. It's so good. I love it. Thank you. That's from Talisha. Kim threatens you. She says, sorry, Earl. I love you, and I'm going to be around for a while with you. So,
This is such a rough
my
path,
kind
please.
of threat, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Yvette shared something really cool. She said, my uncle and aunt married and remarried 3 times, and they have the best relationship now.
Huh.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Yeah. And then Kim says, I feel so inspired by this, and I can't wait to listen to this over and over again. And Tom says, every loving relationship I have ever been in is still happening, and I am grateful for them all.
I love that. I love the feedback. I love to know that we got people all over the world
Me too.
that are joining in with us right now. And Dharma says, I'm happy. I choose to be happy, and happiness comes from the divine. And Tom says, bless you, CJ. What's your phone number? Okay. We gonna have a teach and learning situation, girl. Give me a chance to see you as innocent now. I Lord have mercy.
That was a little paraphrase of what's
That
written
was a
down.
little paraphrase. The third level, y'all ready for this one? This
Yeah.
is deep. The third level of teaching occurs in relationships when once these relationships are formed are lifelong. Like, right? Who would be some examples of a lifelong relationship?
Children.
Children, parents,
Myself,
yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, these are what? Teaching, learning situations in which each person is given a chosen learning partner who presents them with unlimited opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
So your mama, your mama present you with unlimited opportunities to learn. Your children give you unlimited opportunities to learn.
Yeah.
And so you just, when this time you see your mother, your parents, your children, your relatives go, thank you for giving me unlimited opportunities to learn. Okay? He says these relationships, and this is important, these relationships are generally few. Hear that.
Yeah.
It's not normal, generally, to have lots of lifelong relationships. And most people think that that should be the goal. So that's why they think they're a failure if their relationship didn't last.
Yep.
Because they think every relationship that I have is supposed to last a lifetime. So if I've had a lot of second level relationships where it looks like we come together, then separate, then come together, then separate, then I get with somebody else, and we come together and we separate, then I get with somebody else, and we come together and we separate. The ego part of the mind, the fear part of the mind says, I'm a relationship failure. But all that means is we learned as much as we could from each other at the time, then we learned what we could from each other at the time, then we learned as much as we could from each other at the time. And he says that's the more normal level. So it's more normal to actually have relationships that end than relationships that last a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know that's true. Why? Because that's your experience. You know that's your experience. If you be honest, that's been your experience. That you've had a lot more relationships that you came together and had an intense experience with each other and separated than relationships that lasted a lifetime. And the Course is saying, again, you're innocent. Stop beating yourself up about having normal relationships. It's normal that every relationship that you have does not last a lifetime. Doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you're learning a lot through a lot of people quickly.
Yeah, amen.
That relationship lasts 2 days. Thank you. That one was one night. It was a one-night stand. That was really a teaching, learning relationship that y'all learned as much as y'all could after that show. And then y'all appeared to separate. Right?
Wow.
Right? When I was a musician years ago and was on the road, you know, there were teachers that were called groupies.
Yes.
And I experienced a few of them. And when you had this spontaneous connection with each other, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm not going to sit up here and act like it wasn't good. It was good. Now, but what I learned was, if you said, that was a really good relationship, I think I'd like to have a relationship with this person, my experience is it generally never, ever, ever worked out.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to make it more than what it was, actually just created more conflict because we got these neurotic morality that says there's something wrong with you choosing to have a spontaneous connection with someone immediately because we're so puritanical in our views of relationship. But the truth is, it was perfect in that instant. We definitely didn't have separate interests. There was no expectation beyond that moment. And so remember that there is no such thing as a relationship not being a valid relationship based on the length that it lasts. There are people who are celebrating 60 years being together, and you watch them when you go to the anniversary, and because for some people, they're celebrating being at the same address under the same roof for 60 years. And some people, you'll see them and they've been together for a long time and they'll be thrilled and looking at each other with so much love that it makes you jealous. You know, I see people sometimes 80-something years old, which used to sound a lot older than me. And when that's where I meant, well, that's an elderly person. I go, well, you're an elderly person. talking about. Okay. But they're looking at each other with so much love. They're walking down the street holding hands with each other, and you can tell that they absolutely adore each other because love doesn't see the body.
That's right.
If you love somebody, they look good to you, no matter what they look like physically.
That's right.
When you don't love somebody, the only thing that matters is what they look like. I said it again. When you don't love somebody, the only thing that matters is what they look like.
That's right.
So if you're a person that's not a loving person, you're obsessed with how a person looks. If you are a truly loving person, you're obsessed with what the person is.
Yeah, yes.
It's different. So feel guilty because you know you're doing this. Okay. They got decidedly quieter in the room. There was a big drop in the energy when I said that. Okay, so the Course says that when you have a lifelong relationship, it means that their existence implies that the two people involved have reached a stage simultaneously in which the teaching-learning balance is actually perfect. So the people you have a lifelong relationship with, those are the ones who are just the most like you.
All right.
Yep.
But those would be the ones you're most likely to project are the most different from you.
Yeah.
My parents, my relatives, my friends. No, these are the people who your teaching-learning situation was so balanced that they are your lifelong relationships. Now, the next sentence says, now, the people, he says, this does not mean that you necessarily recognize that the teaching-learning balance is perfect. In fact, he says, people generally don't realize they're exactly like the person that they have a lifelong relationship with. As a matter of fact, the two people in a lifelong relationship may even be quite hostile to each other for some time, perhaps for life. So you could be in a lifelong relationship with somebody you don't like your whole life, and it's a third level relationship. And you met people like that. I've hated my mom and dad all my life. I still hate my ex-mate. So just because you're in a lifelong relationship doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it.
That's right.
So if you're in one and you're not enjoying it, stop beating yourself up for not enjoying it because you've been told you could be in one and not enjoy it. But it tells us what to do. It says, should you decide to learn the perfect lesson is before you and can be learned. And if you decide to learn that lesson, what is that lesson? What is that lesson? What is that lesson?
It's a perfect lesson.
What is the lesson in any holy relationship? What are you trying to? You're trying to be a demonstrator of love. You're trying to see each other as sinless and blameless and innocent, right? So he says, so with your relatives, with all the people that you may tend to have some type of grievance with, you still have the opportunity to have a perfect lesson right there before you to change your mind about the way you choose to see them. And don't do the little thing of when they treat me different, then I'm going to treat them different. Because that's where most of us are doing it. When they act the way I want them to act, then I'm going to show them how loving I am.
Yeah.
No, you're going to be proactive on seeing them differently. And it says, if you decide to learn that lesson, then what do you become? The saviors of the teachers who falter and may even seem to fail. Why? Because you are the one that's demonstrating that it's possible to be truly loving and truly conscious.
Wow.
No teacher of God, no demonstrator of love can fail to find the help they need. I'll say it again. You can never fail to find the help that you need. You can never fail to find the help that you need. You will always find the help that you need if you've decided to be a true demonstrator of truth and a true demonstrator of love. There's no such thing as a person that is sincere about being a teacher of God, sincere about being a demonstrator of love, and they not always get the help and support from the universe and spirit that they need. So just commit yourself to being a demonstrator of love. Decide that's the direction that you want to go in, and everything else you need will be added. Would you give it up to yourself? So do a quick little wrap up on this before we go out of here. Oh, I needed to hear that today. So, man. Thank you so much for sharing with me. We're going to do the financial expression of appreciation right now, and I really appreciate that support from my full-time teaching ministry. You are a blessing in my life. Those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yay.
Thank you, darling. I'm sorry. I'm going to acknowledge you, compliment you, see you as beautiful, and see you as whole, and see you as innocent. I don't care how you respond to me. I don't care how you respond to what I'm saying. I'm going to tell you the truth about you. And the truth about you is that you are an incredibly powerful, sensational, loving being. I don't care how much it makes you yawn. I don't care how much it puts you to sleep. I don't care, because that's the reaction that the Course in Miracles says we're going to have to the truth a lot of times. It's going to have that effect on a part of us. And that's okay. That's cool. That's cool. Those of you who would like to have a one-on-one session with me called a clarity session, that's available so that I can work with you one-on-one to get past your blocks and to show you how to take advantage of these situations that you would finally like to have peace in. And for people who are open and receptive to it, I also use my knowledge of astrology and numerology, which is a very spiritual teaching and a very helpful teaching. It is not what people think it is. There's a lot of judgment around that, which is, part of what people do who don't know what they're talking about. So that's okay. There's no problem with that. So those of you who are open to other ways for spirit to reach you, the more unconventional you're willing to be, the faster you move. The more you're willing to open yourself up to ways of learning and doing things other than what the world teaches you is the only way to do it, the quicker you get information. Because answers are not always coming from something that's within your comprehension. Sometimes answers come from beyond your comprehension. And so you can save time by not feeling like you have to understand everything before you see any kind of validity to it. So, God, thank you those of you who are online. That was so cool. You all are awesome, 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 awesome. So let's do a quick review before we go out into the lab, okay? The other thing is that I do the Way of Mastery 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time online on Facebook Live. And then on Thursdays at 7 p.m. I do a Course of Love 7 p.m. Mountain Time. These are 2 other teachings. So check them out. I teach very deep spiritual stuff. It's the stuff I teach doesn't really have that much of an appeal to people who are just trying to manifest things. And there's nothing wrong with manifesting things. But it doesn't, getting spiritually aware is not the same as I want to manifest a car. And I want to manifest a house. And I want to manifest my soulmate. That's cool. But that's not spiritual. That's not coming into the awareness of who you are. Because once you know who you are, the Course says you can recognize who you are in one instant and change your world in the next.
Yeah.
You can change everything in the next. So all problems are identity problems. I'm having this problem because I don't know who I am. I'm having this problem because I don't know what I am. And we got a brother visiting from out of town today. It was his birthday. He came in to share with me. Demola. Which y'all give it up to brother Demola over there. I tell you. We had a good time last night.
We didn't sing happy birthday to him last night.
Yeah, we
That's
should
right.
sing happy
That's
birthday.
right.
We did already in so many ways.
We'll get around. We're going to do it. All right. Here we go. The purpose of a relationship is to recognize that you should use that relationship for one purpose. That's to learn to see each other as sinless. 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 So I'm going to spend this time with you so that I can learn to see myself as sinless and guiltless. Now I'm with you to help you to remember how loved you are and how innocent you are and how valuable you are. Because you're with me, you're never going to forget how loved you are. because we're in a relationship, I'm never going to let you feel that you are guilty. I know you make mistakes, and I make mistakes, but mistakes are not a sin. Mistakes are for correction. The first kind of relationship is a chance encounter with somebody. Today, you may see some people today you've never seen before, and you're going to just see them for a second. That's going to be another opportunity for you to see each other as sharing in interests. Are you with me?
Yeah, with you.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Now, here's the second level. The second level is a more sustained relationship, where it looks like you come together and you have this intense experience of each other, and then you learn as much as you can from each other, and then you appear to separate. So, stop feeling like you are a relationship failure because the relationship didn't last as long as you thought it should. You might just go out with someone and feel an intense connection, and then by the end of the evening, you never want to see each other again. That doesn't mean it was a failure. It means you learned as much as you could from each other as the time. So what I want to invite you to do right now is forgive yourself for all your past relationships right now. Forgive yourself for all your past relationships right now. Any relationship that you might have some kind of grievance or upset or judging yourself about because that relationship did not last. It doesn't mean that you are a failure and that you failed somehow. It means that you just learned as much as you could from each other at the time. We learned as much as we could from each other at the time. What? We learned as much as we could from each other at the time. I learned as much as I could learn from them at the time. I learned as much as I could learn with them at the time. We are both innocent. We are both innocent. We are both innocent. If you don't take the time to do this, you just take your baggage into your next relationship and have a chance to have that piano played on you again. So I would invite you to really tune in and really forgive yourself. You're not a failure because your relationships didn't always go the way that you wanted them to go. If you're in a relationship right now and it's a ton of pain all the time, have you learned as much as you can from each other and you are not separated? Have you learned as much as you can from each other and you are not separated? Now, there's a third level of relationship that you with those jokers for a whole lifetime and you got to lose your mind and you don't know what you're going to do. But they are giving you what? Unlimited opportunities to learn. Thank you, my mama, for giving me an unlimited opportunity to learn. Thank you, my father. Even if my father's not in the body, thank you for giving me unlimited opportunities to learn. All my siblings, thank you for giving me unlimited opportunities to learn. All my relatives, thank you for giving me unlimited opportunities to learn. I would invite you to think of someone in your life right now that you've had a lifelong relationship that you wish it was different in some way. Do you have that person in mind right now?
Yeah.
Tell yourself, they're giving me unlimited opportunities to learn. That means today I could say to myself, I'm determined to see you differently. 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 I'm determined to see you. Now you have a lifelong relationship with yourself. Is that right?
Yes.
And you notice that you haven't been able to separate from yourself. I know you might wish you could, but you haven't been able to do it. So you want to say to yourself, I'm determined to see me differently. I'm determined to see me differently. I'm determined to see me differently. And how does that mean? Well, that means I'm determined to see myself as innocent.
Yay!
Hear that? I love you. Thank you. Would you give it up for yourself? So you're going to get a lot of opportunities today to be demonstrators of innocence. You're totally innocent. I love you. I appreciate you. Hugs are available. Those of you online, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me in commenting.
What are we singing happy birthday? I think we should sing happy birthday.
I think